Well, hello there, my beautiful friends. So as you guys know, I absolutely love indie brands. So I have been wanting to swatch out everything that I own from all of my favorite indie brands here on my channel and do in-depth swatches. So that is exactly what we are going to be doing here today with all of my eyeshadows that I own from one of my favorite indie brands, Clionadh Cosmetics. So if you are interested in seeing these bad boys swatched, let's go ahead and jump right on in. And yes, holding these up like this does in fact hurt my hands. So let's go ahead and kick this swatch party off here with some of the most beautiful blues from Clionadh that I think you'll ever see. And this is the shade Snowdrift. This is one of the newest to my collection out of all the shadows that I own from them. And this is a kind of icy blue that has a beautiful pink glitter running throughout it. It's more of a micro glitter, so it's really fine, but you can definitely see a pink shift when you put this on your eyes. So I'll go ahead and swatch it out, but it is absolutely beautiful. This is from their newest collection. I believe it's 66.5 degrees north. I'm totally guessing right now, but I think that's what it's called. It is from their newest winter collection. So there is one finger swatch of Snowdrift. As you can see, it's a pale icy blue that does have a soft pink shift to it. It is really beautiful and it's even prettier in person. You can really see that soft pink shift. And just like in the JD Glow video where I swatched out everything that I had in my collection, I am going to be doing brush swatches as well. So for this video, I'm going to be using my Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow brush just because it's one of my absolute favorites for packing on eyeshadow. And we'll just pick up a few layers here of Snowdrift. And we'll go ahead and swatch her out and see how she applies. Going in with one more layer here. I like to apply every single metallic, shimmer, sparkly, foiled eyeshadow, whatever it may be. I like to apply anything that's basically shiny on my lids with a glitter glue, just because I find that you're just gonna get better pigmentation that way, so why not just put the layer of glitter glue down just to get more of a pop from your shadows. So here is Snowdrift all swatched out. We have the finger swatch over here and the brush swatch on the side. Just a beautiful pale icy blue with a gorgeous soft pink shift. And some pink sparkles running throughout it, of course, which I personally love. So jumping into yet again another light kind of tealish pale minty blue. This is the shade Iceberg, and this is a metallic super foiled eyeshadow. And if you have been looking for a dupe for the Melt Cosmetics Weed Palette Smoke Sessions, I don't remember what it was called. It had the pot leaves pressed into the actual eyeshadow pans itself. But if you have been looking for a dupe of the beautiful icy blue, like lid topper metallic shade that was called Blue Dream, then look no further, my friends. This is an exact dupe, and I actually found this shade through Clionadh's Instagram. They were showing dupes of basically popular palettes that are around in the market now, and this was a shade that they picked out to dupe Blue Dream. Now I almost picked up the Melt palette because of Blue Dream. Honestly, I didn't really want any of the other shades in there. I wanted Blue Dream. I had my heart and my mind set on Blue Dream, and I didn't have to go out and spend $55 on that palette to actually get it. This was the perfect dupe. So let me go ahead and swatch it out here. As I said, it's a light minty kind of blue shade that has a teal undertone, but it's really, really light in tone. So it's really beautiful as a lid shade, or even as an inner corner highlight if you're doing like a blue smoky eye or something funky. So there is Iceberg with one finger swatch. And let's go ahead and pick some up on the brush here. And yes, I have wiped my brush off. It is technically as clean as I can get it. And now for the brush swatch. This guy applies really beautifully to the lids. As you can see, we have really even pigmentation throughout, and you basically get the same exact effect on your skin with your finger as you would with a brush. So as much as I love beautiful icy blue shades like the two that I just showed you, you guys know I'm a freaking sucker for pink eyeshadow and purple eyeshadow, so now we are going to go ahead and transition on over into those. Now this is the shade Prophecy, and this is almost identical to Max Pigment in Rose, which I also own, and it is also beautiful, but this is just kind of like a pressed version of it. Prophecy is basically like a salmony warm pink that has a beautiful golden shift running throughout it. So let me go ahead and swatch this guy here. And we will place down one finger swatch of Prophecy, and as you can see, we do not need to go in with another layer there. She is pigmented, she is there, she's ready to party. I legitimately don't have any makeup wipes to wipe anything off on, so I'm just like resorting to paper towels here. This is the definition of struggle. Actually, this is the definition of first world problems, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and pick up some of Prophecy on the brush. And I do find that this shade is a bit more sheer when you pick it up on the brush, so you can definitely sheer it out, and it also gets a little bit lighter when you sheer it out. It almost looks a bit more bubblegummy and cool toned. And then once you go in with a second coat, you can get it to that full salmony pink opacity, which personally I like because I can basically choose between wanting like a bubblegummy pink with a little bit of a golden undertone to a full-on MAC Rose Pigment dupe if I want to. But there is Prophecy all swatched out. She is absolutely beautiful. Now, many of you guys know this, but I absolutely love the Huda Beauty New Nudes palette, which is just a palette that's filled with a bunch of mauve-y toned shades. And when I first saw the color scheme for this palette, I automatically thought of Clionadh's Lacy right here, which is from their Valentine's Day collection from last year. This is the most beautiful metallic mid-toned pinky mauve shade, and I personally feel like this shade would be perfect with the New Nudes palette. I've actually paired together the palette with Lacy before, and I found that they worked perfectly together. This shade would fit right into that color scheme. Let's go ahead and swatch out Lacy. Like I said, it's just a beautiful pinky mauve metallic shade. And there is one swatch of Lacy. Now you guys are gonna see a theme here with the Valentine's Day collection and me. I legitimately have almost everything from last year's Valentine's Day collection. That's actually how I discovered Clionadh as a brand, and I bought almost everything. I was obsessed with the packaging, I was obsessed with the names that they named all the shades, and of course I was obsessed with the shades as well. That's the most important part, right? We don't care about packaging or names as long as the product is good, but when the packaging and names are cute too, then it's just like the added bonus, like a little cherry on top of the sundae. Here we have Lacy finger swatched, and here we have Lacy brush swatched. I'm going to scrub the skin off of my arm doing this. So this next guy is probably my second favorite product that I've ever gotten from Clionadh, besides a certain highlighter that I'm sure you guys know which one I'm talking about, which will be in an upcoming video. I'm gonna go ahead and do the highlighters and face products separately, but nonetheless, like complete rabbit trail here. This is the shade Bon Bon, and this is also from their Valentine's Day collection. This is a beautiful metallic fuchsia pink. It definitely has a bit of a blue duochrome going on, but it's not super strong, and it kind of looks cool tone in certain lights, but it definitely has a beautiful warm fuchsia pink undertone. But let's go ahead and swatch her here. And Bon Bon finger swatched. Yet again, we don't need to go back in with a second coat. Bon Bon is fully pigmented off of one finger swatch, and when I use my finger to pat this guy over my eyelids, I get the same kind of application. I really don't have to dip back into the product that many times, if any at all. But let's pick a bit of Bon Bon up with the brush here. And one more time. That was the ugliest freaking swatch I've ever seen. But here is Bon Bon. I definitely find, as you can see by the swatches, that Bon Bon applies better with a finger, so I would just stick to using your finger, or maybe even layer Bon Bon up a few times on your eyes if you're gonna use a brush. But she just applies so beautifully and pigmented with a finger that I don't even want to mess with the brush. So I think this is the first matte that I'm showing you guys here today. And as you can see, she's seen better days, okay? I dropped this guy on the tile literally the day I got it. It basically flew right out of the bag that it came in. I was opening it over tile, which is a dumb idea always. Like, if you're gonna open eyeshadows, do it over carpet or something. Oh my god! Well, friends, here lies Wild Berry by Clionadh Cosmetics. She was a good woman. She was a beautiful purple eyeshadow that has kind of a pink base to it. And I was gonna talk about it and swatch it, but alas, she is gone. Rest in peace, sweet friend. Be free. So I kind of can't believe that just happened. Rest in peace to an old friend. I'm going to miss her very much, but I can always repurchase, so it's not the end of the world, but I'm like kind of surprised that that just happened the same time that I was coincidentally talking about how I dropped her on the ground once and broke her, so I am very sorry for mistreating you, Wildberry. Nonetheless, we must move on here. So this is a beautiful orange that has a bit of a golden sheen running throughout it as well. It's definitely a duochrome, and it's really similar to Prophecy in the way where it has a golden warmth running through it, but it has a beautiful rusty orangey base that leans a little bit more red toned. This is the shade Salamander, and like I said, this is kind of similar to Prophecy, it's just a little bit deeper. It's definitely not pink, it's more of a fiery orange. But there is Salamander all swatched out. And picking some up on my brush here. Let's go ahead and apply. And kind of the same scenario with this shade as Prophecy. You do need a few layers to build it up to really get the true like rusty orange pigmentation that we have going on with the finger swatch. But it does apply a little bit more sheer, which in turn makes it a little bit lighter on the eyes if you just want to put down 1 layer or 2 layers. So you can definitely get different effects with these shadows just by the way you apply them and just by how many layers you do, which I personally like. I like being able to kind of customize my eyeshadows and make things a little bit more sheer, maybe a little bit lighter, or to deepen things up and to get them to the true full pigmentation that we see in the pan. I'm still mourning the loss of my sweet wild berry eyeshadow. Alright guys, we are reaching the last of these single shadows here, but this is the shade Amour, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Amour? Amore? I don't know. All I know is that I'm pretty sure it means love, and that makes perfect sense because, yet again, this is from the Valentine's Day collection, and this is a beautiful, true Valentine's Day inspired color. This is like a burnt kind of berry red that has almost a purple undertone to it. When you turn it in certain lights, it looks a bit more berry and cool toned, but then when you look at it straight on, it has more of like an orangey, rusty kind of thing going on. So I really like that it has those different dimensions. It can basically look almost pinky purple to looking almost rusty, reddish orange. But enough of my jabbering here, let's swatch it out to see what the heck I am talking about. But one swatch of Amour. Not the best swatch I've ever done. So there is Amour built up with 2 swatches. Picking up my trusty old brush here. And let's see how she applies with a brush. This is definitely another one that needs maybe 2 or 3 layers, but you can definitely get there, and the more you build up these shadows, like I said, the deeper they will be, and if they are the duochromes that are in Clionahd's collection, the more you build up the shadows, the more you're going to see that duochrome undertone. So here we have Amour all swatched out. So I just said that was the last of the single shadows, so I bet you thought that this video was done and you were finally going to be able to get rid of me, but we are not quite done here yet. We have 2 little eye trios to go over that are both from the Valentine's Day collection, and like, this is what sold me on the brand. These are adorable. Look at them. Look at how cute these are. We have the chocolate and strawberries eye trio, and then we have the strawberries and cream eye trio as well. Now, this is the white strawberries and cream palette, and I don't think I have to say this, but obviously this is my favorite of the 2. We have beautiful light-toned pinks in here. We have cool-toned pinks, and then we have a pinky brown that's really interesting that reminds me of a certain MAC shade that everyone used to rave about. I think it's called maybe soft brown, or is it Kid? Whatever MAC eyeshadow is the cool-toned, like taupey brown that has a pink undertone. This is almost identical to that shade. But starting on this side here, we have a shade that I've talked your guys' ear off about, which is Strawberry Mousse. I own 2 different pans of this shade. It is a beautiful, super cool toned, super pastel, pale pink. Then in the center, we have Pink Sugar, which I also own 2 pans of because I love it so much. It is basically a metallic with a little bit of sparkle running throughout it, and it is also a light cool tone pink. And then, like I said, on the end here, we have a taupey cool tone brown that has a bit of a pink undertone, which is called Truffle. These names, man, they're so cute. I can't deal with it. I was sold on these palettes literally the second that I read the names. I'm easy to market to, okay? But let's go ahead and swatch Strawberry Mousse. Then we have Pink Sugar, and then finally we have Truffle. So starting with Strawberry Mousse here on the end, then we have Pink Sugar, and then finally on the other end here we have Truffle. I love Strawberry Mousse for starting out any pink eye look. I love using it as a transition shade. I love using it as an all over lid shade if I'm doing an all matte look and I'm using pinks. This guy used to be my absolute go-to when I only did matte looks, which, believe it or not, there was a time when I basically only did matte looks, and I would always reach for this guy, and I still reach for him to this day to use as my transition shade. So now I'm gonna brush swatch everything, but since we're working with some mattes here for like the first time, I'm gonna go ahead and hop in with my BH Cosmetics Studio 8 brush, which is kind of like a fluffy brush, but it's a little bit more dense and tapered, which is my personal favorite kind of fluffy brush, and those are the kinds that I use on the daily. But let's go ahead and just go down here. Let's swatch out Strawberry Mousse. One more layer. She's just super pale, so it's kind of hard to see. Hopping into Pink Sugar with my flat Makeup Geek brush here. We'll pick some of her up and pop her right in the center. And finally, using the same BH Cosmetics brush, I'm just gonna hop into Truffle. Can't leave out Truffle, so let's go ahead and swatch. And as you can see, these eyeshadows are pretty pigmented. You can definitely build them up and sheer them out. And as you can see when I start to blend here, they're not patchy either, and they do blend really easily. Times like this when I wish that I would have had freaking makeup wipe, so I didn't have to basically exfoliate the first, I don't know, 3 layers off of my skin. And finally, we have the chocolate and strawberry eye trio, which this packaging just kills me. It's so cute. We have little strawberries and chocolate dipped strawberries all over here. It's adorable. But here's what the inside of the chocolates and strawberries little eye trio looks like. As you can see, compared to the white chocolate and cream palette, this is much deeper in tone. It's much, I don't know, sexier? Is that a term that we want to use here? Probably not. It's much sultrier. We have more tones that would, I don't know, be good for date night, if you will. And these are basically geared towards Valentine's Day eye looks. So how I see it is that the white strawberries and cream one would be good for like a daytime picnic with your boyfriend or girlfriend. You guys are going out on a sunny day and you guys are having a nice romantic picnic in the park. And the chocolate and strawberries eye trio is basically for when you're going out with your boyfriend or girlfriend, husband, wife, spouse, partner, whoever you're going out with. This guy is for when they are taking you out to a real fancy meal. You guys are gonna go catch a movie afterwards. You guys are gonna go back to his or her place afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Kind of cringed a little bit at myself for saying that, so ugh. We'll just forget that that was even mentioned. But starting on this side here, we have Red Velvet, which is a beautiful, deeper toned red that has a bit of a burnt undertone. As you can see, we have gold glitter in there, which I think it's just for aesthetics, honestly. I don't really find that these types of gold micro glitters that are put into matte eyeshadows really stick to my actual eye, so I think it's just an aesthetic thing just to make it look a little prettier. So I don't really mind. I definitely get a little bit of fallout with it, but I can just wipe it away. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's not a huge deal. Then in the center, we have an antique burnt deeper gold shade, which is called Prosecco, and this would be an absolutely stunning highlighter on you if you have deeper skin. This guy would be beautiful. And then finally on the end here, we have the shade Raspberry Fudge, which is a beautiful, deep, sultry, smoky, raspberry, plummy berry shade. How many times can I describe this? It is beautiful. So let's go ahead and finger swatch Red Velvet, Prosecco, and finally Raspberry Fudge. I want some raspberry fudge right now. That sounds freaking amazing. But swatching down Red Velvet, which, hello. Holy guacamole, she looks really pigmented here and you can definitely see that golden sparkle. So maybe if you apply this guy on your eyes and just use your fingers and just kind of stamp it on, you would actually be able to get a little bit of that sparkle kind of showing through. And then we have Prosecco, which is the beautiful antique gold, and then on the end, Raspberry Fudge. I mean, look at this. These are dark toned eyeshadows, and as you can see here, we don't have a whole lot of patchiness going on. We definitely have, I don't know, maybe a little bit on the bottom here, but honestly, you're gonna get that type of swatch and that type of application with any deeper toned eyeshadow, especially purples. We all know this by now, but I have not found a single purple eyeshadow that does not have a little bit of patchiness and that you have to work just a little bit of finessing into. So I don't mind that these guys are maybe slightly patchy, but as you can see here, they're doing pretty good. To me, this looks a lot better than a lot of the stuff we see in Sephora. So now for brush swatches, I'm just gonna take my BH Cosmetics brush and just kind of dip in a few times to Red Velvet here, and we'll go further down my arm. And let's swatch out Red Velvet. That's pretty pigmented for a really dark shadow. Let's go ahead and blend a little bit to see how these blend out. And I find that these blend really nicely on the eyes. I don't have problems with blending Clionadh's mattes, so I already know that I like the blendability of these, but I just want to demonstrate for you guys to show you that these definitely blend easily, but you don't lose too much of the pigmentation. A lot of times with deep shades, once you start blending, they basically disappear. And as you can see here, we still have a decent amount of that rusty red coming through. Then taking my flat shader brush here, flat brush here, we'll pick up some of Prosecco. I'm gonna pop down Prosecco in the center. And one more layer. And last but certainly not least, let's pick up some of Raspberry Fudge on my BH Cosmetics brush. And we will place down Raspberry Fudge, which, I mean, look at this. Look at that. Do you see that beautiful berry purple kind of smoky plum shade? It is really beautiful, and as you can see, she is blending pretty easily here, so I don't know, I was really impressed when I first got this quad, and I thought that these performed pretty well. Alright guys, but that is going to be it for today. I am covered in eyeshadow. I have a huge mess to clean up. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here, but if you are interested in seeing the part 2 to this video, I am going to be doing basically the same thing, swatching out every single one of my face products that I have from Clionadh, including highlighters and blushes, and I have quite a few. So I'm going to be doing that very shortly here on my channel. So if you are interested in seeing that, I would absolutely love it if you would hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed the video and you enjoy Clionadh Cosmetics, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to let me know down in the comments, have you tried these before? Are you familiar with Clionadh? And do you like their products as much as I do? Because I absolutely love them. But with that being said, I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing day wherever you are. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!